Good morning. This is Michael Passmore, Senior Minister of Central Christian Church in downtown San Antonio. This is our Sunday broadcast. We are meeting again in person worship and having about a little over half of our congregation came 2 weeks ago. Last week it was less climate outside, but we welcome you to come and join with us there. But we also offer not only our music offerings, but also our devotions for Sunday mornings. Today's devotion comes to us from John's Gospel, the first chapter, the 12th verse. It is a very familiar verse to us. But to all who received him, who believed in his name, he gave power to become children of God. I'd like to tell you a true story. I followed it some years ago and I picked it back up again just recently. It almost concluded the 22nd day of August in 1485. It was at the Battle of Bosworth Field, the battle that ended the War of the Roses in England. It is also used as a date to mark the end of the English Middle Ages. King Richard III died that day in the battle. William Shakespeare wrote a play about King Richard III. He was not a nice man. He was buried on the battlefield without ceremony. But then, 8 years ago, just in our time, 8 years ago, while digging up a parking lot for a new development in Great Britain, King Richard III's body was discovered. I shouldn't say his body, it was his skeletal remains. It would take a long while before the DNA would confirm the discovery, but there were marks on his head that were described in the battle. There was a spinal deformity. And so in time, through the discoveries and developments in science of maternal and paternal mitochondrial DNA and the haplogroups, too much information, I think, for most of us, it was Richard III. He then got a kingly burial 530 years after his death at an Anglican cathedral. But here's the story that I really wanted to tell you. The DNA, the Human Genome Project, 23andMe, and all of the other companies that help us trace our ancestral remains, there was a software engineer in South Carolina working for the Motorola Corporation who was interested in his family heritage. And so from South Carolina, a man called David Brinkman finds out that he has royal blood, a direct line, perfect match to King Richard III of England. David's friends were having great fun with this discovery when he announced it. They bow down when he comes into a room. They address him as Your Majesty. Every time he thinks about it, he said, one moment, I'm just an average engineer employee at Motorola, and the next, I'm a descendant of the King of England. Does he develop better posture as a result of this? Does he offer more respect? Does he get more respect at home? Does he treat his wife like a queen? Does he name his dog Prince? Even if Richard III murdered his way to power and the throne of England, should engineer Brinkman live different once he finds out that he is in the royal heritage? I will tell you, he joined the Richard III Society in Great Britain. Now let me ask you this. Do you, as a believer in Jesus Christ, would you think you should live differently? Do you live differently? Now that you have become children of royalty, not blood royalty, but children of God, according to John chapter 1, verse 12. According to John's gospel, you are of the royal family of God. Should that change us for the better? I would hope so. Thank you for letting me share with you this day.